again, my little yarnivores and spiderettes. Fiber Spider back again with another tutorial just for you. Yes, and today, here's an oldie but a goodie. Now, this is the Arbor stitch, as in leaves, as in trees, as in beautiful organic things growing out of the ground. Yes, and I have done this stitch before in more of a triangular formation so that you could do a shawl or a square blanket radiating out from the center. But with much tweaking and fiddling and frogging and so forth, I did figure out how to use this stitch in a rectangular format done in rows as opposed to in a triangular V formation, so that you could do a scarf or a wrap or a blanket or a what have you in whatever dimensions you want. Yes, and I have the repeat as far as, the multiple of chains so that, yes, you can make it whatever width you want, and it is lovely. Perfect for this time of year. We are approaching the fall, and I love any sort of leaf motif. Ooh, that rhymes. And of course, I love anything that's green. This is actually, I have it right here. This is Touch of Alpaca by Lion Brand. This video is not sponsored, but I always like to let you know what it is that I use. And I did quite a few multiples for this piece, as you can see. And on the edge, it has a nice straight edge. And on the bottom, it has a nice straight edge. And I didn't get very far with this swatch, but I wanted to give you an idea as to what you can do with this stitch if you want like a light and lacy blanket, get the chill off, or this actually, I would say this would make an awesome wrap. If you want to do a scarf with this, I would say make it a little bit wider than your typical scarf to compensate for the extreme laciness of it. Maybe 2, 3 or so multiples, for the width. That being said, I am going to be using today Pound of Love and a size J crochet hook, which is a 6mm hook, and the multiples for your base chain, which I already did. The multiple is a multiple of 14 chains plus an additional 3 chains. So right here, I have a total of 31 chains. So 14 times 2, 28, and then add 3 more, and you've got 31. Now, of course, you can make this as wide or as narrow as you want to, but for the sake of the tutorial and making up a nice, cute little swatch, I'm keeping it relatively simple. And of course, I am going to do a repeat for you as well, and I'm going to put timestamps in the description box down below. Okay, that was a mouthful. So, that being all said, let's get started. All right, so for row 1, now this is, of course, after you have your multiple of 14 chains plus an additional 3 chains. What you're going to do is into the 4th chain from the hook, do a double crochet. Now, for a clean edge, you could technically go into this top loop. Actually, what I've found that works best for me, is if you go underneath not just that top loop, but also that little second loop sticking out there, makes it a little bit cleaner and a little bit easier. Again, personal preference. It's up to you. So double crochet into that 4th chain from the hook, and then double crochet into the next chain. But you know what? Actually, for the sake of ease, I'm going to just go into that top loop. I'm going to cheat, but you can do whatever you like. It'll look cleaner, as you can see, if you go underneath both loops, but I'm cheating. So after doing your 3 doubles, because this counts as your first double right here, going to chain 3, and then skipping 4 chains 1, 2, 3, and 4, going into that 5th chain with 3 double crochets. So 1, all into that same stitch, by the way. 2, and 3. See, if you go underneath both loops, it doesn't stretch out quite so much. But then chain 3 again. Skip 4 chains, 1, 2, 3, 4, into that 5th with a double crochet, and double crochet into the next 4 chains for a total of 5 double crochets. So that's 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so at the end we have 3, then we have our 3 in the same, and then we have 5. Well, basically it's going to be alternating back and forth between a cluster of 3 and 5, and we have enough room to do another 3. So chain 3, skip 5 chains, 1, 2, skip 4 chains, 4 chains, 1, 2, 3, 4, into the 5th chain. Do your 3 double crochets into that same stitch. All right, then when you've reached the end, chain 3, again, skip 4 chains, 1, 2, 3, 4, and into the last 3 chains, double crochet into each. Okay, so basically for the width of your piece, granted this is a fairly small swatch, but for the width of your piece, you would alternate back and forth between doing clusters of the 3, and then the 5, then the 3. Then if it were wider, you would do another 5, another 3, another 5, another 3, another 5, another 3, as wide as your piece is, just like you can see down here. But for the sake of time constraints, I wanted to make it a little bit more narrow, but it would just go back and forth, back and forth. But the ends, on either end, you have 3 and 3. Okay, so that is the end of row 1. All right, row 2. I'm going to start by chaining up 2. Now this does count, in this particular instance, this will count as your first double crochet because I find that it tends to make the edges a little bit cleaner. So yeah, that will count as your first double crochet. Then don't go into this first stitch. Go into the next stitch with a double crochet. So you went from 3 down to 2. This is going to decrease while this next little guy is going to increase. So chain 3. And into that first stitch, 2 double crochets. And then double crochet into the next stitch. And then 2 double crochets into that third. So we're going from 3 stitches up to 5 stitches so that the leaf can grow outwards. Okay, chain 3. Okay, now this one needs to shrink. So skip the first double crochet and go into the next 3 stitches with double crochets. So that's 1, 2, and 3. Chain 3. skipping that double crochet and the chain space, going into that first double crochet of the cluster with 2 double crochets in that same stitch, because we need to have it grow out. So 2 doubles, double into the next, and then 2 doubles. There we go. So again, 3 to 5. Chain 3. Okay, now again, just like we had on this side, we went from 3 to 2. Well, we need to do the same thing. So, skipping this chain 3 space and that first double crochet, going into the second 2. So, double crochet into that second stitch, and then double crochet into the last stitch. It can be a little bit fiddly, but it's worth doing right. Oop, I almost had it. There we go. So as you can see, the end ones and the one in the middle are getting smaller, whereas the ones here and here are going to get a little bit bigger. So that's the end of row 2. Okay, so for row 3, it's going to be a smidge, just a smidgen different, because we went from 3 to 2. Well, right now we only need 1 double crochet at the end, and then we need our chain 3 space. So we have been doing a chaining up of 2 for our first double crochet. Then we need the chain 3 space. So we need a chaining of 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Turn the work. So the initial 2 chains counts as the double, then the additional 3 counts as the chain space. And then again, we need to build this leaf out. So into the first double, 2 double crochets. And somebody is having a lot of fun with their motorcycle outside. I don't know if you can hear it, but I certainly can. All right, so 2 doubles in the first. And then continue on with 3 more doubles. So that's 1, 2, and 3. And then 2 doubles into the last stitch, so that we have continued outwards on both sides of the leaf. So we went from 3 to 5 all the way up to 7. They never get any wider than 7 though. Okay, so now chain 3. And we're going to skip the chain space in that first double, going into that middle stitch with a double. Okay. So we have 5 to 3 to 1, and then 3 to 2 to 1. Okay, chain 3. And then we have to build this one out from 5 to 7, so 2 doubles in the first. Then 3 regular doubles, 1 in each. And then 2 doubles into the last for our total of 7. There we go. Chain 3. And again, we need to go into this last stitch. We're going to skip this one here. We're going to go into the last one, right into the top underneath both loops there, like so, and do our final double crochet at the very edge there. Da, 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 coming along. All right, so that's the end of row 3. Okay, so for row 4, we're going to switch gears, and the ones that we had decreased, we're now going to be increasing, and the ones that we were increasing, well, we're going to be decreasing. So it's going to be sort of a flip-flop. It's all about balance and equilibrium. So that being said, start by chaining up 2. And I find that when you're doing your chaining up of 2, if that second chain in particular is just a little bit loose, which is not usually my forte, it's a lot easier to stitch into later. So I would recommend that. All right, so now we need to increase this end. So into that first stitch, do a double crochet because we need to go from 1 to 2. There we go. We need to bulk it out. All right, then chain 3, skipping the chain space and the first double crochet, going into the next with a double, and 4 more for a total of 5. So that's 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so we're leaving that first one and last one alone so that our leaf will have a nice taper. All right, so then chain 3 again, and then into this lonely little stitch right here, going to grow out again. So we need 3 doubles into that stitch there so that it can blossom and flourish. There we go. Chain 3 again. Again, skip the chain space and that first double, going into the next 5 stitches with double crochets. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, almost to the end. Chain 3. And then into this last double crochet, 2 double crochets. So you can go up from the bottom. So that's 1 and then 2. So into that second chain from the bottom there, right in there, 2 doubles. Now, for this particular project, I repeat, I would not recommend just going into the chain space and doing your stitches that way. It will not look nearly so nice, trust me. All right, so that is the end of row 4. It's coming along. We haven't hit the repeat mark yet, though. That will happen soon enough, but we're not quite there yet because the edges are not typical for the original format of this pattern, because originally it was just a 3-row repeat. Well, because we have edges to contend with, it's more of like a 6-row repeat, but we'll get there. We're getting there. All right. Okay, row 5. Again, start by chaining up 2 and turning the work. And then again, skipping that first stitch, going into the second one with 2 double crochets. That's going to be our increase. So we've got 3 on the end here, but it's not the same kind of 3 that we have down here. Not yet. It will be, but not yet. Okay, chain 3. And then we need to decrease the top of this leaf. So skipping the chain space and the first double, going to the next 3. With double crochets. Alrighty. And then going to go in by doing 3 chains, and then into this first double, 2 double crochets, and then a regular double crochet, and then 2 double crochets. Okay, pull out some more yarn. There we go. Chain 3. Skipping the chain space in the first double, going into the next 3 stitches with doubles. There we go. Chain 3. And then into this first stitch, 2 doubles. And then double into this last stitch here, this last double crochet. Okay. So that, my dears, is the end of row 5. Alrighty. Okay, row 6. So, as per usual, start by chaining up 2, turn the work, get your tail out of the way. All right, so always, skip that first stitch. The only time in which you don't skip that first stitch is when you're increasing from 1 to 2. But yeah, skip that first stitch, going into the next stitch with a double, and then into that next one right here, 2 doubles. Okay, chain 3. And this leaf needs to decrease just once more, so going into that middle double crochet with a double crochet. So that's the end of that leaf. Chain 3. And this leaf needs to grow, so into the first stitch, 2 doubles. Double into the next 3 stitches. And then 2 doubles into the last for a total of 7 double crochets. There we go. Okay, chain 3 once again. Double crochet into the middle double crochet stitch. And then chain 3. 2 double crochets into the first stitch. One double crochet into each of the next 2 for a total of 4. Pardon me. Okay, so yes, we have 4 on this end, 4 on this end, and this leaf in the middle, it's not going to get any bigger than the 7, and these 2 have been finished up. Oh, it's so pretty. I love it. Love it. And that is the end of row 6. Now, for the rest of this piece, we're going to be following the 6-row repeat. Technically, this is the full repeat. However, we had a chain 4 space here, and so on and so forth. Now, that was to compensate for what we needed to do, because if you notice here, okay, so like for instance, down here we had our 3 cluster and then the 5. Well, if you look up here, okay, so there's the 3 cluster and the 5. Now, if you notice, that is a chain 3 space, but there's an additional stitch right here, and then there's another one right here. That is why I had 4 chains because you have 3 chains and a stitch, which counts as a chain. That is why it's different on the base as opposed to the following rows. There's a logic to the madness. I know it's madness. I know it's loopy, but that is what I came up with. Now, if you want to change the base chain when you are doing your project, if you're finding that the base chain it's a little too long, you can make alterations. I haven't done the calculations myself, but it is something that you can consider if you want to tweak the pattern even more. I don't mind. It's okay. But let's go on to a full repeat, shall we? Yes, we shall. All right, so we're going to be doing the repeat, so row 7. And the reason why I'm not going back to row 1 is because we have this chain 4 as opposed to a chain 3. So to make it a little bit easier, I guess I'm just going to say repeat rows 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. All right, so starting off, we chain up 2, turn the work, and skipping that first stitch, going into the next 2 stitches with double crochet stitches for a total of 3. Chain 3 into that double crochet there, 3 double crochets, okay, chain 3, skipping the first double crochet, going into the next 5 stitches with double crochets, chain 3, going into this double crochet with 3 double crochets, chain 3, and skipping this first double crochet, going into the next 3 stitches with double crochets. There we go. And that is row 7. Right, row 8, chain up 2, turn the work, skip that first double, going into the next with a double, chain 3, 2 doubles into the first stitch, 1 in the next, and then 2 in the third. So that's 2 doubles, then a regular double, and then 2 doubles, because we need the leaf to grow out. And then the next one, we need it to shrink. So chain 3, skip the first double crochet, then going into the next 3 stitches with double crochet stitches, chain 3, and we need this leaf to grow out, so 2 in the first, 1 in the second, 2 in the third. Chain 3, skip the first double, and then double crochet into the next 2 stitches. Ta-da! Okay, onwards. Row 9. Okay, now again, we have our 2 doubles here. We need to go down to 1 double. So again, we need to do a chaining up of 5. The first 2 count as the double, the remaining 3 count as the chain space. So 1, 2, for the double, 3, 4, 5 for the chain 3 space. Okay, going to have this next leaf growing out, so 2 in the first, and then 3 regular doubles, and then 2 in the last for a total of 7. There we go. Chain 3. Just 1 double crochet in the middle. Finish up that leaf. It's going nowhere else. All right, then chain 3. 2 in the first, 3 regular ones, and 2 in the last for a total of 7 for this leaf. And last but not least, chain 3 and double crochet into this last stitch right over here. Okay, so that's the end of row 9. Feeling fine. Okay, really coming along nicely. Okay, row 10, we need to have this first double crochet increasing. So after chaining up 2 and turning the work, going to double crochet into that same stitch. So we've got our increase, chain 3. And since our leaves don't get any bigger than 7 stitches, we need to decrease. So skip the first one, double crochet into the next 5 stitches with double crochets. So that's 2, 3, 4, and 5, chain 3. Into this lonely little stitch here, 3 double crochets so that it can blossom forth once again. There we are. Chain 3. Skip the first one, going to the next 5 stitches with double crochets. 2, 3, 4, 5, chain 3, and of course, skipping this double crochet in the chain 3 space, and then doing a double crochet into this last double crochet, just second chain from the bottom. And another double crochet into that same stitch because we need it to grow out. Okay, and that is the end of row 10. We're getting there, most definitely. Okay, row 11, chain up 2, turn the work, skipping that first double crochet, going into the next with 2 double crochets, chain 3, skipping that first double crochet, going into the next 3 stitches with double crochets, there we are, chain 3. Okay, have this leaf growing out, so we need 2 in the first, 1 in the second, 2 in the third. So that's 2 doubles, then 1 double, and then 2 doubles. Okay. Chain 3. Skip the first. Go into the next, what was it? 3 doubles, so I've got 1, 2, and 3. Chain 3. All right, now we've got these 2 doubles at the end here, so 2 in the first and 1 in the next. There we go. All righty. Okay, row 12. All right, so chain up 2, turn your work. Again, skipping this first double crochet into the next, and 2 in the one thereafter, for a total of 4. Chain 3, double crochet into the middle stitch to finish off that leaf. Chain 3, expand this leaf outwards once again, 2 in the first, 1 in each of the next 3, 1, 2, 3, and then 2 in the last for our total of 7. There we are. Chain 3. Okay, again, 1 in the middle to finish up this leaf. Chain 3. And then on this leaf at the edge here, 2 in the first, and then 1 in each for a total of 4. Okay, there we are. All right, my dears, so that is the full repeat for this pattern. And if you want to continue on, which I imagine you would just continue on by repeating rows 7 through 12. And in this case, as you can see, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So row 7 is where we had the 3 doubles, and then the cluster of 3, and then the 5 doubles. And that's what you would do here. You would do 3 doubles, then you do your cluster of 3, and then 5 doubles, and your cluster of 3 and 3 doubles, over and over and over with rows 7 through 12. And yes, I'm going to put the timestamps in the description box down below if you get stuck. But this is one of those patterns where all you have to really do is look at the pre-existing work that you've done, and you can see how it patterns along the edges, because like we went from 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it just keeps undulating, from, low to none, to the highest point, down to the lowest point, up to the highest point, and so on and so forth. And then the stitches in between correspond to that with the growing and shrinking, correspondingly. So that being said, I hope that you like this tutorial. I love this stitch, and I hope you like it too, because like I said, the fall is coming, and anything leaf oriented, oh, it's so up my alley, it's not even funny. So that being said, if you did enjoy the tutorial, please give a little thumbs up button down below. I appreciate your appreciation. You know I do. And also, do hit subscribe because I try to post often, whether it's crocheting, knitting, or audiobook narration. And of course, please do check out my other YouTube channel, Fiber Spider Games, for video game playthrough and commentary, and also my Etsy store. Links are in the description box down below. I do hope to get some more items up on my store. I do have a bunch of hats at the moment, and I hope to have some shawls and things up there as well relatively soon. So, that being said, until next time, I hope you have a great day, and don't forget to stay inspired, stay caffeinated, stay stitching, and stay safe. I love you guys, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye for now.